What would be a good end of life? And I'm talking about the very end. I'm talking about dying.
Who here remembers when they first realized they were going to die? We have to live in the knowledge that the worst thing that can possibly happen one day surely will. The end of all our projects, our hopes, our dreams, of our individual world. We each live in the shadow of a personal apocalypse. And that's frightening. It's terrifying. And so we look for a way out, because the fear of death is so deeply embedded in us. Now, I find it helps to see life as being like a book. Just as a book is bounded by its covers, by beginning and end, so our lives are bounded by birth and death. And even though a book is limited by beginning and end, it can encompass distant landscapes, exotic figures, fantastic adventures. And even though a book is limited by beginning and end, the characters within it know no horizons. They only know the moments that make up their story, even when the book is closed. And so the characters of a book are not afraid of reaching the last page. So the question is, are we doomed to lead the one lives we have in a way that is shaped by fear and denial? Or can we overcome this bias? Now, overcoming this bias is not easy.
So I'm afraid. In my life, I ain't met many people that will readily admit when they are afraid. And I think that's because deep down, they know how easy it spreads. See, fear is like a disease. And when it moves like wildfire. But what happens when, even in the face of that fear, you do what you gotta do? And that's called courage. And just like fear, courage is contagious.
We're gonna make lots of errors. That's the way these things work. And I think that we should be proud of it. And what is so difficult and challenging is that we are also the objects of these changes. It's our health, it's our lives, it's our future, it's our children. And that's why they're so very troubling to so many people who would pull back in fear. And I think that our choice, and the choice of life, is not whether we're going to go down this path. We are, definitely. It's how we hold it in our hearts. It's how we look at it. The bravest are surely those who have the clearest vision of what is before them, both glory and danger alike, and yet notwithstanding, they go out and they meet it.
But our lives can be filled with as much intensity, and the stakes can feel just as dramatic. We cycle through tragedy and joy. So what that teaches us is obstacles are to be expected, and we can choose to surrender, or we can stand and fight. When you believe that there is a way around or through whatever is in front of you, that surrender is not an option, you can overcome enormous obstacles. Sacrifice your ego and drop the superiority complex. It's an acknowledgement of need or fallibility. Drop your ego. Life is not about you. It's about us. And our ability to experience joy and love and to improve our reality comes only when we make ourselves vulnerable and we accept responsibility for our actions and our inactions. You're not meant to be static characters. While we may not swap faces in our own lives, we can evolve too. We can choose to draw a circle around our feet and stay in that spot. Or we can open ourselves to opportunities. We all have the power to initiate change in our lives, to evolve and adapt. We make the choice. But sometimes life chooses for us and we don't get a heads up. Surprise slams us in the face. We will all experience what looks like an ending, and we can choose to make it a beginning. And we can use those lessons to craft our own life stories.
Imagine the book of your life. Its covers, its beginning and end are your birth and your death. You can only know the moments in between, the moments that make up your life. It makes no sense for you to fear what is outside of those covers, whether before your birth or after your death. And you needn't worry how long the book is, or whether it's a comic strip or an epic. The only thing that matters is that you make it a good story.
Make a list of your projects. put down your phone and get to work.
It's never too late to change your story. So remember, as long as there is breath in your body, it's never too late to change your story.